running back rankings here. I am joined by Phil and Jordan. Seth will be joining us shortly here. We got our running back rankings. We are going to go from running back 32 all the way to running back 11. We're going to kind of go through 32 through 20 pretty quick. Have a couple discrepancies in there I'm sure we'll talk about. Then we'll, go a little slower as we go on, guys. Going to try to keep this to about 30 to 45 minutes of running back rankings just for content's sake. And we'll do some other stuff. So Phil, you want to break this down? We'll read down Seth's. We'll read them all, and we can kind of say where the discrepancies are. Sorry, Jordan.
No, all good. So what I think we probably will do is, do you just want me to go through and read them, or do you want me to just read through Seth's and then go through
read through Seth's 32 through 20, then Jordan can go through his and I'll go through mine. Then we can kind of,
let me also
say what we like and dislike.
Totally cool. Let me go through actually and just read through 32 through 20 of last year, because I think that'll help provide a little bit of context. Okay. So I think that was this was PFF and ADP last year. Sorry, it wasn't the actual where they finished. So never mind. But so I'm just going to read Seth. So Seth has Ezekiel Elliott at 32, Devin Singletary at 31, Brian Robinson at 30, Raheem Mostert at 29, Zach Moss at 28, Warren at 27, Najee Harris at 26, Javonte at 25, Zamir White at 20, Pollard at 24, Zamir White at 23, Brooks at 22, Connor at 21, and then Montgomery at 20. So he has actually two Cowboy running backs there in the top, basically 32 to 20.
No, I think you get mixed. What throws me off with Seth is it's too hard for him to write the first and the last name on those. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a real hard extra step. It's only over there. Yeah, Pollard is the Titans running back, Phil. Remember he's
yep. You're right. You're 100% correct.
So no, simple mistake. Jordan, you want to go now here, Jordan?
Yeah, before I go, I do think I just want to say this is extremely hard to rank, and honestly, it's all a crapshoot, to be honest. In every tier, it's like a crapshoot. It doesn't even 1 through 5 is kind of I don't know how to rank these guys 1 through 5 after CMC. I don't know how to rank 25 through 30. They're all I'm not saying that, I'm not giving it out here. I'm just saying it's very hard, and especially even this early where roles are clearly undefined. We have a lot of undefined roles in the running back rooms of teams that I think will figure itself out a little bit once we get to draft time. So obviously it's an early rankings that it just is hard. There's a lot of names and there's not a clear direction on how to kind of put them in order. That makes sense.
And what I'll say, Jordan, is we're going to do this again in July. When we get a little closer to the draft, maybe August. It won't be maybe, we'll do it up. And I'm going to eventually I'm going to share this Google sheet so people can look at it. And I think it'd be cool to update it, when things happen, stuff like that. But yeah, we will do that, get the averages, all that good stuff. But yeah, read yours off, Jordan, from 32 through 20.
So I got 32. I have 32 and 31. 32 Aaron Jones, 31 J.K. Dobbins, both two guys in timeshares. At 30, I have James Conner, 29 Zach Moss, 28 Javonte Williams, 27 Tony Pollard, 26 Raheem Mostert, Najee Harris at 25, Zamir White at 24, Jalen Warren at 23, David Montgomery at 22, Derrick Henry at 21, and Ken Walker at 20.
Okay. All right, and I'll go to mine here. I have Jalen Warren at 32, Austin Ekeler at 31, Javonte Williams at 30, Trey Benson at 29, Aaron Jones at 28, DeAndre Swift at 27, Ramondre Stevenson at 26, Ken Walker at 25, Zach Moss at 24, David Montgomery at 23, Zamir White at 22, Tony Pollard at 21. Just some stuff, a couple names that are sticking out to me here, Jordan. Some people are really high on Brian Robinson at Washington. backup running back to Austin Ekeler. Like, people really do like Brian Robinson. I don't know how you're feeling about him. And then I have a couple other names like Zamir White at Vegas, guys like him. I felt weird putting a starting running back that far down my list with Zamir White. Like, I kind of wanted to move him up. I just didn't know exactly where to put him there. So answering those questions you want right there. I know
we're all over the place. You have Austin Ekeler at 31, Trent.
Mm-hmm.
I have Austin Ekeler at 11.
Okay. And
so
Seth,
I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things where Seth has Ekeler at. He doesn't even have in the top 30.
He has Brian Robinson. He has Brian over him, huh?
Yeah, he has Brian Robinson. He also doesn't have Chubb listed, just for what it's worth. And you guys have him. I would expect if he's going to put Chubb anywhere, it'd be in that bottom half. He also doesn't have
Derrick Henry. He also doesn't have Derrick Henry in the top 30.
So he did some. He's doing the old mess
Trent,
around.
You have Trey Benson. You really think the Cardinals can support 2 top 30 running backs?
I think what's going to happen is I'm counting on, has James Conner ever played a full season where he's like 100%?
But you have James Conner ranked at 13.
I have Conner at 13. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I do have Conner at 13. I like James Conner and I do like Trey Benson both. I think towards the end of the year, I think Benson's going to get some time in there and get some carries. I'm a huge Trey Benson believer. I just have a hard time thinking that the Cardinals aren't going to get to the 1 yard line and just hand it off to James Conner. Like, I think he's still going to have that role, and I think he's still going to play a little bit, but I do think he's going to get hurt to where we go, hey, James Conner is I don't know. I really like both of them. I think James Conner's a guy I would target later in drafts and stuff like that. And Seth has just popped in.
What's up, boys? I made it.
Oh, yeah, finally. Derrick Henry didn't make it though, but that's a whole nother story. If you want
Nick Chubb.
So, but hey, these aren't final rankings, guys. This is very early
final
rankings. Very early.
What about DeAndre Swift? You have DeAndre Swift pretty low.
I think I've just decided I'm a DeAndre Swift hater after last year. And maybe I have him too low because he's in worse offensive line in Chicago, but probably a better running back situation. I'll admit I'm probably too low on him last year. I think I have him about the same as what I had him last year going into the season. So, but yeah, I do have DeAndre Swift a little low.
My last comment to be like Austin Ekeler at 31 seems a little egregious to me.
I just feel like, I know the PPR stuff and stuff like that, but I think what's kind of scared me is the Brian Robinson hype that people have been putting out there. Like, people are calling him a sleeper and stuff like that, to where I just don't know. And with how bad Ekeler was last year, I just didn't really feel comfortable putting him up higher. And I did this a little different than I normally do my rankings to make sure I didn't forget guys. I had a whole list, the list over there on the right. I was copying and pasting each one, and I was highlighting them yellow to make sure I didn't miss anyone, because I don't want to miss anyone on these lists. But yeah, Ekeler, like, he was a weird one where I just was like, how far off am I compared to like PFF? PFF has Ekeler at 28. So I'm a little lower than PFF.
Yeah, I think they're low. Like, I think that's ridiculous. I think it's egregious too. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah. And PFF, what about PFF having Nick Chubb at 30 right now? Does that seem crazy?
Well, he's injured.
So I understand a little bit.
He's coming off a knee injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
but also he may never be good at football again. Like, it's his third knee.
You don't know that. Like, you're speculating there. Like,
sure. I mean, we speculate all the time on this podcast. So.
Yeah, and so I can speculate that I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So
sure.
My point is that, like, we don't really know. You don't know.
And my point is you said speculate, not me.
Well, you're speculating about an injury. Like, it's a little bit different. It'll be like, yeah. I tend to assume that guys are going to be okay coming.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sounding like Trent right now. Like, what if he gets hurt? It's like kind of guy.
Yeah. I think Achilles are a lot more concerning to me.
Oh, sorry. I think
knees. Yeah. Sorry, knees. I tend to assume guys are going to come back from. Achilles is where, like, I tend to have a little bit more hesitation. That's kind of my thought process there.
That is kind of a scary line, though, right, Seth? Like, if you ever feel like, man, I sound a little bit like Trent, like you're almost like, what did I do? Which turn did I take incorrectly to end up at this point?
That would be a
Anything
huge
that's
IQ
like Trent, you
upgrade
better
for
take a
him.
hard right.
That would be a huge IQ upgrade.
Yeah, people be like, "Wow, Seth just figured out how to park a shopping cart at the grocery store, and it didn't take him 9 tries." Like, just stuff like that. Like, wow.
Hopefully, he
Seth.
can parallel park next. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only advice
exactly.
I take about Trent on shopping carts is he puts them on curbs, so he doesn't even put them in the thing. So
yeah, there's a
It's
lot.
not a
We could
struggle.
go. All right, let's move
Phil,
on here.
Phil, with the new layout here on YouTube, make sure you keep yourself centered. Maybe back it up a little bit. All right. Is there anything else here we kind of want to talk about here? Zamir White, like that's maybe a head scratcher there, where like guys
We're
are
all
pretty high
kind
on
of
Zamir White.
We're all kind of same ballpark on him, Trent.
Yeah.
My concern with Zamir White is just the offense. Like
the team.
what does that offense look like? They're going to be
Probably a
down in
huge
games.
zero-
And here's the problem.
Huge
Like,
zero RB guy, right?
yes, but my concern is they're going to be down in games. Like, is he going to be involved in the pass game? I don't really know. He doesn't. I'd have to honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know how involved he was last year.
I looked
But-
at the team roster too, though, and like none of the other guys seem like they're going to be the pass catcher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not at the OTAs, and or see these mini camps, so like we don't know who's taking those reps or even how good they are. But like he's the only guy of like I shouldn't say any notable name, but like most popular name. He's probably gonna be most likely a 3-down back. But like I said,
Well,
it's on
I
the
guess
Raiders,
my-
scary offense.
My counter to you, Seth, would be is that like Amir Abdullah has kind of been a passing down back his whole entire career. Not that it's been much of a career, but he kind of has been a passing down back. Madison feel like he caught a little bit out of the backfield, a little bit. Like I just don't know. Like that. You're talking bad team. The role may not be as good as like some people think it's going to be. And then
It's not going to be a
the
Rashad
upside?
White at all. No, not even close.
No,
it's not going to be
and,
Rashad
like,
White last year, but hopefully, like people are thinking they take that risk on him, he can be a good third running back you have, or second, even a decent enough second.
I just worry about that team being down a lot and just throwing the ball a ton.
Thanks for tuning in to Fantasy Football Dudes. For cheering for the underdog has never been this exciting. And if you like simple, fast, and fun, then Underdog Sports is the perfect place for you. All you got to do is choose 2 to 5 of your favorite players' stats. The more you pick, the more you can win. Get 5 picks right and 20 times your money. Pick them, watch them, win them. Underdog is the easiest place to play DFS. I forgot to mention it's best ball season, so break out your swim trunk and join a best ball mania today. Promo code DUDES will match up to $100. Let's go win some money. And then I feel like I'm too low on Zach Moss. I really like Zach Moss, but I just couldn't figure out how to put him higher. Like guys that I'm targeting, if you're a 0 RB guy, Zamir White. If you're 0 RB, a guy that's a 3-down back, we kind of know what we're getting with Alexander Madison, right? Like I think they're going to give Zamir White an opportunity. And who was the other one I have in there? I had Zamir White and Zach Moss. Okay. What do you think, Joe? Like Ramondre, that's just such a bad offense. You aren't big on Javonte Williams anymore, Jordan, or are you? Yeah, you have him a lot.
Dude,
like we have him a lot. Did that hurt you?
Well, no. Like I saw today the report that like he may not make the team.
Who?
Like that Javonte, like that Jaleel. What's that guy? Jaleel
McLaughlin.
Oh yeah, they're saying he's a big sleeper too. Yeah, I've been seeing
someone.
That.
I said, yeah, that someone else looked the best, and that Javonte even make the team type of deal. So I don't know. The other guys, like I think David Montgomery's just still rock solid in this range. Like he's like that guy 0 RB guy. If he's your second running back, or if you go like with one of the big guys up top, and then you kind of go RB2 with Montgomery, like he's just rock solid. The volume. In theory, the volume should be there. The touchdowns should be there. They're just going to run the ball a ton like they always do. That offense just gets so many
he
plays
finished at 13. Yeah, he finished at 13 last year, and I just have trouble putting David Montgomery hard in that because I really like Gibbs a lot. And
I agree, but I still think he's going to be solid though. Like he's
Mhm.
You're probably the floor is probably pretty high, for someone
Yeah.
in that range.
So, all right.
Trent,
we'll-
where's
we'll
your
get-
Ezekiel Elliott on here?
I messed up on Zeke. That was one that I did not get on there, and I didn't. He probably, honestly, looking at this again, Zeke, I probably
I have him at 32.
18. You have him at 32. Like I think I would probably.
I just think the touchdowns are going to be there, right?
I don't
mean-
know enough. Yeah, I don't know enough about the Cowboys' offensive line. I need to dig into Zeke.
Well, I
a
mean,
little
think
bit
about it,
more.
Trent. How many red zone touchdowns did he have? Before then, and how many rush yards were they? Under 3 rush yards, usually touchdowns, like pretty
Yeah,
within the 5-yard line over there.
And they're not
yeah,
putting the little
everyone
guy.
thinks the Cowboys offense is going to be pretty good again, right? We all know like
Mm.
they're going to score points. They're going to be decent enough to get him red zone touches. And
Yeah.
is Dowdle going to be the red zone guy? No.
Deuce Vaughn is
No.
definitely not going to be the guy doing the tush
No.
push.
no, not Ducey.
So I just think touchdowns alone gets you in the top 32 for sure. Like
Yeah,
should
you're
easily
right.
have 8 touchdowns this year.
You know
Easy.
why he's doing that, right, Seth? He's doing
What?
it so Zeke hears that he didn't keep him in the top 32 and just
And
lights
he's a
fire
Cowboys
under him.
fan too.
Yeah, it lights a
Yeah.
fire under him, and then it's like,
If anyone can light a
wishful
fire out of
thinking.
Zeke, it's me. But anyways, guys, if you haven't, if not, remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes. Really helps us out, guys. Head over to YouTube here. I got a picture of Jordan's dog, Mamba, here. Give us a like, give us a sub, all that good stuff, guys. So head over to TFF Dudes and give us a like and a sub, guys. You will not regret it. So come check out
She
Jordan's
taught that
dog,
dog-
Mamba.
Taught that dog some good tricks, huh?
Okay. Anyways, let's go over here to 20. So Seth, why don't you read your rankings here from 20 to 11? Stop at 11. Go at green. Stop at red.
Oh,
Make it
okay.
easy
Thank
this
you.
week.
It's actually
We're
green,
counting
green,
good.
but it's okay. I'll keep going. I know you're colorblind.
Mine's red.
Mine's green.
Oh,
Mine's
you're on the
green.
wrong list. You're at the wrong list, buddy. We're on weekly recap, but you're on the right list still, so it's okay. Keep going.
Okay.
It's a little thing
Anyways.
called copy and paste.
Okay. Cool. I have Montgomery, Swift, Ramondre Stevenson. Why do I feel like that?
Aaron Jones, is that Aaron
Jones. That's Aaron Jones. I couldn't think of what Jones that was.
Helps
Joe
me do the
Mixon,
first name.
Kenneth Walker, James Cook, Devin A-Chain or A-Chan, however you say it, Josh Jacobs, and Isaiah Pacheco.
All right, Jordan.
Okay, so I got Ken Walker at 20, Ramondre Stevenson at 19, Devin A-Chain at 18. At 17, I have DeAndre Swift, Joe Mixon at 16, James Cook at 15, Nick Chubb at 14, Isaiah Pacheco at 13, Rashad White at 12, and then Austin Ekeler at 11.
All right, I have Raheem Mostert at 20, Alvin Kamara at 19, Nick Chubb at 18, Joe Mixon at 17, Najee Harris at 16, Rashad White at 15. Hey, I said it right there, I think. Joe Mixon at 14, James Conner at 13, Isaiah Pacheco at 12, James Cook at 11. Anything that just kind of sticks out here to you guys? Like, am I the highest on Raheem Mostert? Is he even on your guys' list?
Yeah, I
He's at
have
the
him
bottom
in
for
the mid-20s.
Yeah,
So what are
Jordan
you
has him
doing
at
with-
26. Jordan has him at 26, and then Seth has him at 29.
Okay.
And like Trent,
What,
you're
Jordan?
higher on A-Chain than I am. Seth is. You guys are both decent amount higher. My concern with the Dolphins running backs is one,
We don't know.
neither of them are going to be healthy all year. Like that's almost a given,
Yeah.
right? Like
You're being
Um,
speculative.
You're speculating, but it's okay. Continue.
sure, I'm speculating. You're right. But like Raheem Mostert's never been healthy for a full season in his career. Has he
That's
ever
true.
been?
That's a fact.
Like that might be a fact. And A-Chain is someone who's going to deal with those type of injuries, just the nature of how he plays football. And so, but then also, even if they're both healthy, what does that look like? What's the usage between the two of them on top of an offense who's going to throw the ball a lot? So I just don't know. Like there's just a lot of unknowns there. And I guess I'm kind of ranking them a little bit lower because of the unknown. If you told me there was one guy, like if Raheem Mostert got ruled out for the season tomorrow, like I'm probably having Devin Achane as a top 10 running back easy, right?
Yeah.
Like, or vice versa. Or if the one would get traded, or if one were to retire, if there was just one of them there, like it would make things a lot simpler. But I'm just kind of having them both a little lower just based on both. But Trent, I'm assuming you think that they're just gonna run the ball a ton, or
Both of those guys like just did so good last year. I'm having trouble keeping them both out at the moment. Like I think I put on X, I put is there a bigger risk in fantasy football than drafting or passing on Devin Achane? He is the ultimate feast or famine player because we just don't know. Like if he ended up being like running back 5, it wouldn't shock me. If he ended up being running back 15, that also wouldn't shock me. With how Raheem Mostert did last year, I think that McDaniels wants to use a stable, and I think that's the problem. He's going to be hot hand. Mostert did really good last year. I want it to be Achane. A lot of guys want it to be Achane. Achane's going in like the 3rd round for a lot of guys. Like a lot of guys are taking him in the 3rd.
Mostert's definitely the better value. 100%
Yes.
better value.
Yeah, he's the better value. And that's why I think that they both could finish like top 20 like that. I just don't like because those guys weren't like having like, Raheem Mostert had some TDs, like had a lot of TDs, but he had some big like home run touchdowns also. And I'm wondering, does he going to still have those? You know what I mean? Like Devin Achane, he, was great for fantasy football last year. Was he getting tons of snaps? Was he getting tons of carries? No, he was just, they're both kind of home run hitters in my, like, what's Mostert though? 31. Like I could see Mostert being kind of the guy that starts the season off and maybe, tails out, doesn't finish the whole year. But yeah, like I think we're all pretty somewhat similar on Mostert. Like we're not huge off, but yeah. The guy that I wanted to put on this list, I just can't do it. Like I don't know is Keaton Mitchell. I love Keaton Mitchell, but I think Keaton Mitchell, with that how bad that knee injury was, he might not that was a nasty knee injury. You know what I mean? Like he folded like a table the wrong way. Like if you want to, get a little queasy, go ahead and search that on X, the Keaton Mitchell injury. But anything else with these, like there's got to be some other stuff in here, like James Cook.
So like
I'm highest on him at 11. You're at 15. Jordan's at, where are you at? Or Seth's at 14.
Yeah, not far away from you, but still higher.
We just don't know about the goal line TDs there, right? Like they're probably going to Josh Allen.
I mean, is Josh Allen still going to have 8 rushing touchdowns? Like maybe.
What's his worst?
Probably.
Like, what's his worst?
Like probably. Like he's probably going to have 8.
Yeah.
What do you have last year?
That'd be an interesting.
He might have
to look
more,
up, Jordan.
He might have more.
He might have more.
I could see him.
I mean, think about all these games where they need to win. They don't hand the ball off. He takes off and runs.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy is so like Nick Chubb. Like we kind of talked about him a little bit. I just kind of think he'll be fine. He's going to be healthy and going to be the guy and go right. I mean, the good thing with the Chubb injury is that he's literally going to have a full year off, right? Like,
yeah,
he tore it very early in the year, week 1, week 2, somewhere in there. Week 3 it was very early in the year, first month,
it was
right?
Week 3.
So,
it was right after Jordan said he's the dude of the year. So,
yeah. So, like, I think he's going to get back into that role that I thought he was going to have. And I get Jerome Ford's there, but I mean, they love Nick Chubb in Cleveland. Like, if he's healthy, they're going to use him, right? And so, like, I have him pretty high.
Deshaun Watson's
terrible. What? Deshaun Watson's terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
Jordy, the one guy that I thought you didn't have him that much outside of the top 10, but I feel like you would have been a big Rachaad White guy just because how committed you are to the Chargers running game. Like you've said it, at least I think I remember you saying it. Like
the Chargers running game. Wait,
what are we talking about? And Rachaad White, you're talking about the Bucks, Phil.
Sorry, the Bucks. Yes, the Bucks. Sorry.
Yeah. So couple things there. Canales not there anymore. Right, Canales used him quite a bit. They also drafted Bucky Irving. That does not Canales departure concerns me a bit. The Bucky Irving, just another guy, a 4th round is draft pick is not nothing, right? That's some capital that
Yep.
you've invested in. And then I kind of just think that there might be some regression with that offense a little bit. Like, can the Bucks be as good as they were last year? Can that offense be as good as they were last year? I don't know. And so that concerns me a little bit. Is the
Jordan loves
passing
doubting
volume going to
Baker.
be? No, I'm more talking about it from like Godwin wasn't good last year. I kind of think his volume ticks back up. Like, does that hurt? Does that hurt Rachaad White in the passing game? Does Bucky Irving get more work in the passing game with him there? Like, he was pretty good at Oregon in the passing game. So like, there's just a lot more question marks. The role's not as great as it was. That's kind of where I'm at. They also drafted like Jalen McMillan. Like, is the passing game volume going to be there for Rachaad White like it was last year?
Mm-hmm.
That's what concerns me. I mean, he was
ADP,
elite volume last year.
Yeah, ADP 49. He's going right ahead of James Cook right now in drafts. They're both getting drafted ahead of Isaiah Pacheco also. If Rachaad White can be like what he finished as last year, if he can be, last year he finished as running back 6. If he can finish half of that, like running back 12, running back 15, where you have him, I think he's still a solid guy to pick up for 0 RB, stuff like that. I think this is a good range of where you want to put him in drafts. Like PFF has him at, where do they have him? You see him there on the list? They have him at 11 is where PFF has him. So we're all pretty close on that.
I mean, I would say for me, go ahead, Trent. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm the highest on Najee Harris. That's what I'm gonna say by a lot. I think.
Yeah, I just think Warren eats too much into it, or he eats too much into Warren. Like, that's just how I see it.
Yeah, it's very similar for me to the Dolphins situation, just on a not as good of a situation. Just they're not as great of a situation. Plus, and if Fields ever gets that job, their value even gets worse, right? So like, there's always gonna be the Fields. Yeah. And to be honest, do we think they just don't use Fields at all in the red zone? They're gonna use Fields at some point, right? Like, even if it's, hey, we're at the 1, we're bringing in Fields, right?
Arthur Smith did that with Mariota, or who was the backup quarterback last year? Did he bring in a backup quarterback?
No, you know who they'd always
2 years ago, right?
Was Jacoby Brissett, the Colt, or was it the Colts to do it with Brissett, or someone would do it with Brissett?
Yeah, that was a different coach. Yeah,
someone would do it with Brissett though.
I think he was there last year, wasn't he?
Did he do Cordell Patterson?
It's like what the Saints do in the red zone with Taysom.
Or Taysom, yeah. I have a hard time believing they're just gonna let Fields just gonna sit there the whole entire season. Like, even if he's not starting, I could see them using him in packages and third and short, 4th and short, goal line situations where Russell Wilson's off the field, and that hurts their upside too, right? That hurts Najee's upside too if Fields is going to steal away touchdowns.
I don't know. You see all this stuff out of training camp. He's lost some weight, maybe a little quicker. Contract year means something. These running backs, like, this is his last chance really to get that payday. And I kind of like going for guys that have that incentive to play for. And it just seems like so far the off-season buzz from Najee is good. I think Arthur Smith really likes him, which honestly doesn't mean anything, like after what we saw with Bijan and stuff like that. Tomlin just got re-signed. But yeah, I'm kind of liking the value of Najee Harris in these drafts. And maybe Jalen Warren's, just as good. Maybe it's just, two-headed monster and they're both about the same. But I'm hoping Najee's TD count ticks up this season.
What do you yeah, for sure. Sorry, Trent, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, keep going.
What do you think about Mixon in Houston, Seth, with Dameon Pierce there? Do you have any thoughts on that one?
I honestly, Pierce last year wasn't that impressive. We also know that like the Texans are gonna be committed to throwing the ball. I mean, look who they have on there. Like, they drafted guys. They have like a loaded wide receiver room. They have CJ Stroud who can sling the ball. And honestly, I think Mixon is slightly better than Pierce. Like, I think Mixon's a good running back for this mainly pass throwing team, which they are going to throw the ball mainly. And if their defense still isn't as good, right, they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more. So, I mean, I think Mixon's fine. I mean, I need to see where I have him ranked again, but
I think you and Jordan have him ranked the same right there at
at
16.
16.
So
Yeah. Trent has him
I
at
think
17.
I think it's a decent spot.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the offense is going to score points, so he's going to score, right? And he's going to run when they're up in games. So I think it's going to be fine. I just don't think Pierce is that much of a threat, in my opinion.
He had a ton of he touchdowns made him. But he actually finished as RB5. Maybe it could have been different in a different league there, Trent. But I see him at RB5 where he finished last year.
What about Mixon? Yeah, Mixon had a really like sneaky weird year. I think part of that had to do, I am at running back 7 right here, but I think part of that had to do with, the whole Burrow injury and stuff like that. And he always has like those blow up games.
Trent, did you say Mixon had a good year last year?
He finished as running back 5 and half point.
Yeah, running back 7. Yeah,
he finished running back 5.
Yeah,
I just
good
feel like
year
he's
for a running back.
all the time.
No, I know. Yeah, no, it's a good. Like you don't think of it as that good. Like honestly, if you asked you, like, hey, Jordan, where do you think Mixon finished? Above 11 or under 11? I think you would say over. Sorry, yeah, I think you'd say he finished over 11, right? Over running back 11.
Mm-hmm. I would have said like 15 or something.
Yeah, no, that's the one that always shocks me. Is how
he played,
good Mixon what?
In 69 games, he scored 49 touchdowns. So like the guy had a lot of touchdowns, which obviously helps a ton. So I don't know. I definitely don't think he's top 10 again this year, but it's just an interesting one there with obviously Dameon Pierce. Seth, I'd agree with you. They're committed to the pass, but I mean, depending on how up they are in games, who knows? Maybe Mixon gets a decent amount of that. And then who do you think is the pass catcher there in Houston? Wouldn't they bring Pirine in on third down in Cincinnati?
A little bit.
No. I was talking about in Cincinnati. Wouldn't they bring in Pirine?
Yeah.
Like, is Dameon Pierce going to be the pass catcher there?
I don't. Yeah, I haven't even focused. I haven't even looked at that enough. I don't have Devin. I don't know. I don't have Devin Singletary on my list. He's a starting running back, right, for the New York Giants. Maybe that's a miss for me. Is he for sure the starter? You brought up what's his name? The backup running back for Texans. Singletary was this. Yeah. Singletary was a running back there. And that just, that was something where I thought I was wrong. Do a couple more here. What, like Kenneth Walker? Am I just too low on Kenneth Walker? Like, I don't know what to think with the new coach there.
But Charbonnet, Seth, I think you'd agree with us. Him and Charbonnet, I think, are going to split pretty heavily. And I don't think one of them is not going to be in the top 20, and I think one of them will be, but I don't think it's going to be super high. Like,
I don't know if they're going to split as much as you think, though.
With how much they split last year, like they looked pretty good splitting last year.
I mean, I think Charbonnet could be like the third down back, right? I think maybe that's what you consider split. Like it might be a 2/3 to 1/3 split sort of thing, maybe. But
and this is a bad take, but I actually started liking Charbonnet better as a runner in the later half of the season last year than I liked Kenneth Walker. I just like the way he runs.
I will say the game I went to though in San Francisco, Kenneth Walker had a really good game, so that game was fun to watch. But
so that swayed him right
a little
there,
biased.
Phil.
It's an in-person bias, maybe
a little bit biased. Yeah. Seth got into Did you get into any altercations there, Seth?
No, everyone was really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just everyone was just
that's unfortunate.
Everyone was just glazing Brock Purdy the whole time. Everyone's like, "This guy's so good." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
Did you say blazing?
Glazing.
Oh,
glazing. It's a new word kids say.
Yeah, that makes me hungry. Anyways, I think that kind of.
I got to talk about Austin Ekeler because this is my biggest stand. If you look at my rankings, right? I have Ekeler at 11, and you have him at like.
I don't think I have him
31. Seth doesn't have him ranked, and PFF has him at like 30 or 28. So like, I have him at 11. Maybe I'm missing something here. I'm not the biggest Brian Robinson guy in the world. I just kind of think he's not good, to be honest. He didn't do much last year. More hype than anything, I think. So like, Ekeler was not great last year. But I mean, what did he finish fantasy wise? Like,
you
I
were
don't
not
even think
happy.
It was top 32.
Ekeler last year finished as running back 26.
Okay, so he only had 6 total touchdowns. after the 2 years before that having 20 and 18. So like you would think that the median comes a little bit more closer to the middle there of like 10. If he has 10 touchdowns, the other issue was that his receptions were way down, 51 compared to 107 and 70 the 2 years before that. Yards were down. So like if he, and I think that the Commanders are going to use him a little more in the pass game. Like
Do you
I
think
think he will
Daniels
be the.
does Daniels throw the ball to running backs though?
I wouldn't say he does. I wouldn't say it's something he does all the time, but also in college, he didn't really have to, right?
Yeah,
And I
but
think
yeah, maybe my initial reaction to that is like if he does still like he's a rookie, right? He's going to be playing right off the bat. Maybe my thing is my first instinct with him is like Joe Burrow, first instinct dump off, right? When in trouble, no one's open, dump off. Jaden Daniels, maybe first instinct is in trouble, no one open, run the ball. I don't know. Maybe that's just what I see. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
I guess
he's trying to stray away from that. But I mean, that's what Justin Fields did. And that's how
I
he had a good
also-
rushing season.
Okay, so to answer your question, Seth, we have one running back from LSU, 14 catches. So we got 14, 22. Yeah, I mean, it's like 25 catches total for the running back. So yeah, not a lot. But also like I feel like they're going to use Ekeler at receiver. Like I think they literally might just line Ekeler up in the slot and use him that way. They didn't sign him for no reason, I guess is my point. They gave him a 2-year, $11 million contract, about $5 million a year. I think they're going to lean on him a little bit as like a veteran presence. And you know that Eckler's going to come back. Like he wants a bounce back year. And so I'm not saying that he's the RB3 like he was 2 years ago, but I think he's going to be closer to that 11 to 15 range or that 10 range. Like I'm probably going to end up having a lot of Austin Ekeler if his ADP stays where it is, because I just think I guess I don't think he's washed yet, and maybe a lot of people do. I think there's a little bit of more victim of circumstance a little bit last year. The Chargers are real banged up. Their offensive line wasn't good. Herbert was down. Their coach was flat out awful. So I just kind of think that a little bit.
You think his value is way too good for where he's going? Yeah,
I think his talent level is too good. Like I'm gonna say it over and over again. The Commanders are just. I think they're gonna be down in games, but I think Daniel's gonna be competent enough to be like okay down in games. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his ADP is 106 right now. Here's my problem with him. I feel like he's on the downward slope right now. He's 29 years old. He's 5 feet 8 inches tall. Like it's just, he's a tiny running back. He's getting up there in age. And I just feel like the cards are getting stacked against him. I don't know if he puts it all together for another full season like he has in the past. Like I've always kind of been an Ekeler hater too, Jordan. Like I've never been a huge Ekeler guy. You've always been a big Ekeler guy. I just don't see him, being, I just feel like he's kind of done, and I think his ADP is pretty, like, I think that's a good spot for him. And he's a guy that's going at 104 with upside is what I'll say about Austin Ekeler. Like he could be one of those guys that catches a bunch of passes. Like you're saying, young quarterback, maybe they say like, hey, if you're in trouble, we don't want you to run, dump it off, throw it to your guy. That's kind of what I'll say there with that.
Another concern that you guys haven't mentioned, he's also married to a TikTok star. So we did bring that up
TikTok
last time.
Star. Yeah.
We brought that up 2 weeks ago, but it is worth noting.
People forget. I think that kind of is a good little
Trent
spot.
But
what do you have?
I'm assuming your Ekeler thing is more about his height than his age.
No, it's a combo of both.
Because James Conner is you have at 13. He's 29 years old.
How big is he?
So it is about his height.
Yeah, absolutely about his height. And that's why I think guys are so high on Brian Robinson. I think they're going to use both of them.
I guess I don't understand what the height has to do with anything.
Yeah, nor do I. Honestly, I have a problem with it.
Running back shelf life is not great. And you get these guys that are even smaller like this. Like Emmitt Smith, I know wasn't super tall, but he was like, 5'10", 5'9.5". Like Ekeler is a tiny little guy back there.
He's of average height.
But for pound, he's probably stronger than any running. I mean,
he's
built like
that's his nickname. Yeah.
I mean, he's built like better than
brick.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah, he's built like a brick.
Yeah.
I mean, a brick house. Like,
yeah, I've always been, I think they might have made a song about that. But I think he's just kind of I think it's the size thing is what I get caught up on. He's had some banged up seasons too. Like
Trent,
I think it's the
not
combo
about the size of the dog.
Trent,
It's not
in
about
the last
the size
three
of the dog.
in the last 3 years, he's played 16 games, 17 games, 14 games.
And he finished very bad last year. I feel like he's on a downward slope.
Well, 1 year. It's one bad year after two amazing years.
Todd Gurley had one bad year, and it just these running backs go down fast, man. Like I would rather be on a year early selling them than a year late. And I know you're gonna go back to Derrick Henry, but I just think he's built a little different with a better offensive line and not a young Commanders team that is going to be playing from behind. I know you like the reception possibilities with Ekeler. Like he's been good in the past with stuff like that.
Okay, I guess my argument then would be like James Conner coming off a bad year, had a great year last year. So like he's
a bigger running back.
So it's about his height.
I said that. I said height and age combined. There's a formula. I should make a little formula on this, and I could share
and
it.
One bad year, and then one bad year.
One bad year. Yeah, one bad year. You don't want to be the guy that drafts it. The ADP is great for Ekeler. I think it's the right spot. The right spot.
So I think honestly, my biggest stand of the year might be Ekeler as a top 10 running back.
Mm-hmm. No.
Can I get a buck bet, Trent? Can we get like
I'll bet you that he finishes
okay,
outside
but
the
hold
top
on.
10.
But no, I'm not gonna bet. You have him ranked at 31.
Yeah.
So like,
where do you want to have him? Where do you want to have him?
Austin Ekeler's top 20. Meet me in the middle. I have him at 11.
Old Georgia Pine.
I have him at 11. You have him at 31. Meet me in the middle there. Top 20.
Okay, I'll go top 20. So you want to go 20 and a half? Or no, you go 20. Go 20. Yeah, 20 and a half. Okay. Yeah. And I still need to go back and get that crazy one we had last year on Derrick Henry or last week that we had something wild on there. We need to go get that one figured out. So I got right there.
That was a good one.
Does anyone want to take me? Anyone want to take Jordan on with me? You're here, right here, Phil.
No, I'm not going to get baited into that. That was hook, line, and sinker. He like threw out a little bit of
I think it's possible he finishes 20, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Threw out a little minnow there, and
Trent
you
took a stand on. He went full on age and heightism. Yeah. So
I have a real problem.
Even though Trent's older than the dude and probably about shorter, probably about 5'6".
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Guys, I think that kind of does it there with our running back rankings. We'll be back next week with our wide receiver rankings. We're going to kind of do it kind of similar to like this. But remember, don't be rude, share the dudes. We'll catch you next time. And as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.